Grand rising, grand day, grand evening. This one's gonna be quick. I just wanted to tell y'all a funny story about uh, a date night me and my husband went on last week. So we have not done our investigative services in some time. Y'all know we have been um, separated for 6 months, for a year probably. Wait, let me think. Where we at now? What's this month? I left in June and never came. Mhm. Yeah, so we was separated for 7, 8 months, me and my husband, right? So we haven't really been doing anything together. So we went out the other day. I had made an appointment to go see um a Series 7 broker to talk about some of the securities I had. And I did a random basic search on Google and I said, I hope y'all can hear me. I'm braiding my hair, so my head probably be dropping. I said, Google, give me the location of the Series 7 broker near me. So she gives me this supposed Series 7 broker near me. It's just down the road. It wasn't far. But so we get there and I have my documents on me and shit. I told my husband, I said, I want you to go with me because we ain't been out in a while. Um, fucking with people, right? So we gets there and everything all cool. He all in our pocket, want to know how much money we bring in a month and shit. I'm play along with him because I'm only there for what I want, not for what he wants. So I'm talking to him and he's trying to run down what he do and what his services he provide. And you guys don't have to pay me anything because I get paid by the product provider and blah blah blah. And I said, so you a Series 7 broker, right? And he was like, no, I'm a Series 6, but I can do this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, he already false advertised himself as registering himself, labeling himself as a Series 7 broker, knowing that he's a Series 6 broker. So when he said he's a Series 6 broker, I closed my folder. So my husband, he looks at me and smiles like, oh God, she ready to go right now. But I didn't leave. I stayed there. I tried my best to listen to the bullshit. And when I asked him specific questions, he couldn't answer it. And this is why I specifically wanted a Series 7 because you ain't there yet, homie. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So for shits and giggles, I tried to ask him a question about a security that I had. And he looked at the security and he said, well, what do you mean this is a security? It's just a lease. The fact that I stayed and talked to him was, I'm getting pissed off now thinking about it. But I said, what else is it though? So he looks on the whole document and he said, oh, I see this. He said, yeah, but I don't understand how your lease is a security. He said, I'm a landlord. I have several properties that I rent out. How is my lease a security for the tenant? That's what he said. I said, sir, if you own a lot of properties, did you register your properties at the state recorder's office? He said, yeah. I said, you only can register your mortgage deed at the recorder's office if you, in fact, have what? A security interest in it, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, what do you see on the document? He said, well, obviously it's been certified by the recorder's office, so it has to be a real thing, what you're saying, but I just don't know how. And I don't see nobody understanding what you're saying. I said, that's fair, but you're holding the document that's telling you what it is. So why are you challenging me? So I left that alone, and he was scratching his fucking head. So he proceeded to go on with his little seller, his little product, and trying to sell us on some dumbass life insurance policy that was ridiculous. And then when I questioned him about life insurance policies, he ironically didn't know what I was talking about, or that wouldn't work for me. Some shit he was saying. But what really pissed me off with this particular broker was the fact that he tried to encourage me and my husband to get a $500,000 policy. Now, I didn't go in there to be sold on life insurance policies in the stock market. I went in there specifically to discuss the cashing and the um, investing of my security. So what I said to him was, a $500,000 policy would never work in my family. We need a $10 million policy. This nigga gonna laugh and say, you need to have your expectation more realistic. I said, really? And why is that? He said, having a $10 million policy is going to have a high monthly payout that you have to pay out. I said, okay. He said, why do you need $10 million? I said, why did you ask me? He said, if you're trying to leave that money for your kids, that's irresponsible because your children should work for themselves and invest their own money. I said, are you discouraging me from leaving my children a legacy inheritance? He said, I'm not discouraging you. I'm just saying your money will be better off spent with a $500,000 policy. That way, when Gus dies, you can at least live off the rest of your life with that. I said, it costs 3 times the rent to move into a house or an apartment. An apartment or a house, 3 times the amount, let's just for shits and giggles say it's 3,000. So basically, you need $100,000 or more to live a year. I mean, for a year. This was me breaking this shit down to him. A $500,000 policy would not provide security for me until I die, and it will help my It won't help my children at all, at all, at all. He had the nerve to get an attitude that I would not accept that. So, after him telling me that my children were not worthy of us leaving them a $10 million policy, um, he tried to sell me on ooh, option. He was trying to sell me on option B. Option B was investing my money into a stocks that wasn't a sure thing. He had option C, which was the safest bet. So I told him I would go ahead with option C and invest that particular amount of money into that. And then he tried to take me back to option B. So I said, I looked at my husband, and my husband was like, okay, you want us to keep going to this. Let's break this down. So he says, how do you come to the conclusion that if we invested in this $500,000 policy right now, that I would get the return of this particular amount? So the guy said these are historical projections. So it could be higher or lower. And then we get into more details, asking them, explain that to us. And then when we tell him your explanation is not adding up, and then we show him how, he had the nerve to get frustrated. And there was this weird thing he kept doing with his head and his neck. Every time we caught him in the lie, his neck would get stretched out and it twitched like it was a tick. How the fuck do you have a tick for a tail? That shit was creepy. But every single time he lied to us, he did that. And I was like, okay, I have to get out of here because I'm about to cuss this man out because he's lying right to my face. And you can get more bees with honey than flies with water or some shit like that. Whatever they be saying. You don't have to lie to me. You could tell me what your position is. You know how many people are dumb enough to fall for everything? If you just be honest with people, you will achieve your goal for the most part, at least 70% of the time. But this particular guy who lied on his advertising saying that he was a broker that he was not, who looked me and my husband in the face and said our kids did not deserve to have $10 million left to them because they can earn it on their own. Which, mm, mm, don't even get me started. This stuff is so crazy. You try so hard to get away from the racism in your head and your heart, the thoughts of why is this happening to me, and it could only be happening to me because of what I am. You try your best to get away from that mentality, but the actions of humans are the actions of humans. And I've never in my life heard an investor, a broker, tell somebody not to get the highest policy that they can get, which you can get policies way higher than that. You can get policies for $200 million. So it was just so sad to watch him try to nigga us like that. So he was like, so do you want to get started with this, and or do you want to make an appointment so we can go and set up this? And I said, you know what, let me give you a call. He was like, okay, did you get my card? You made sure you got my card that I gave you? I was like, yeah, I got it. I will never call you back. First of all, you told me my children wasn't worthy of leaving them $10 million. I would never go to somebody that's supposed to be handling my money, managing my money, when they don't believe that we deserve the money that we have. So I showed him my trust. And he was like, oh, you got all your affairs in order. So you said that you didn't understand and stuff and you wanted to know, but you guys have really done a good job, like researching all this stuff. Ooh, we definitely need a fucking pat on the back by you, one who knows nothing. Mm, mm, mm. He said, I own this very building that we're in the office now, and I rent out this office space to the other people. I just can't see how your lease can be a security. I said, you and a lot of other people, sir. But that was a fun day for us. Like, because we got to work together, we got to challenge somebody together when we knew they was lying. And every time my husband North Philly came out, I would kick his foot so he could bring it back home and shit. And then eventually he moved his foot, so I couldn't warn him like, chill. But it was fun. And the whole point of me telling y'all about this date is because you have to date the person that you're with. It doesn't matter if the date is dinner and a movie or anything. Uh, checking out a new store or a new seasoning to cook with, going to the Michaels to look at stuff to make shit, like anything is a date. Like y'all have to stop doing what they do. Stop doing what they do. You have to stop doing what they do. Create your own thing that you do, your own rituals, traditions, the things that you do with your children, with your spouses. Create that shit. Stop doing what other people doing. Stop wearing wigs because other people wear wigs. Wear fruit on your head or something because nobody else doing that. Me and my husband do really basic shit, and it turns out to be great things because we're together experiencing that. It's so important to date the person that you're with. And if y'all are interested in the same things, that's even better. Nobody would ever consider that going to see a broker about your financial future could be a date. But it was a date because it was interesting because we were together challenging somebody. So that's all I got on this particular thing. Just remember if y'all gonna go, I'm home. If y'all gonna go do see a series a broker to invest in your future and shit, just make sure you go to a Series 7 broker. There's a big ass difference between a Series 6 broker and a Series 7 broker. A Series 6 is not going to know how to invest or cash your debt notes or your security. Okay? I hope this helps. I'm starving. I have to go get something.